Okay.
Please welcome PJ Accetturo, CEO at Genre.AI.
Your video, ¿vale? Play
Okay.
ya. Play. No vemos en pantalla el slide. Se está yendo
Okay.
pantalla.
Un momento, por favor.
Es un señor con un fondo azul.
Comes riding in like it's a tech fairy tale.
That's PJA's leather jacket, black pants, looking every bit the AI prince.
And you know he's about to drop some serious AI video knowledge on.
We filmed that last night, had elephants on stage. It was insane. Repaired it all night long, so super tired. What's up, guys? How you doing? Feeling good? Staying cool? Hey guys, if you don't know me, I am PJ Ace, viral AI madman, as I've been described by my mom. I have been having a lot of fun in this space over the last years, and what a wild year that it's been in AI. I know this clip is incredibly overused, but it still, is like the seminal, most iconic AI video, kind of all time of like, the first, I think, really viral AI video, and now this was actually done by Javi, shout out Magnific and FreePick team, but just incredible in the space of about 2 years where we've been. And so I'm just really excited today. I've just got stories for you guys. Obviously, I've seen a lot of like kind of highs and lows in the industry. I promise this will be entertaining first, informative second. FreePick flew me out here for free, so thank you so much, FreePick. Appreciate you guys having me here. But this is an expensive presentation. I was offered 2 weeks ago to fly out to another conference, and they were like, "What's your speaking fee?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't speak." Like, in my head, I was gonna be like, $400. And then like, but I'm like a salesman by nature, as most other con artists in the space are. Just kidding. I was like, look, we do like $80,000 productions, do it over 2 weeks. Like, you guys do the math. Like, it's expensive for me to go to this conference, saying to the other organizers, not FreePick, love you guys. And they're like, all right, well, what if we pay you like 40 grand? I was like, how long am I speaking? They're like, 40 minutes. And I was like, as long as you promise not to tell the other conferences that I'm doing it that low, I think I can swing it for you guys. So they pay me. So this is actually a maximum effort presentation that you guys are, so buckle up, lots of AI knowledge, but super excited to be here. So I am PJ, I run Genre.AI. We've gotten 250 million views over the last few months. You guys will get the full Monty on the Kalshi ad that went super viral, the David Beckham spot that I did that is like 280 million views, Popeyes, other Kalshi videos. So really seen a lot in this space, and just kind of excited to show you guys through kind of the highs and lows, all the ways in which AI video is kind of being disrupted at a big level. My clicker is vibrating, which sounds weird. Even more weird. Okay, we're gonna get weird. My biggest viral cheat code. We could talk about viral cheat codes all day, but this is basically if you have old people in scantily clad outfits, I promise your videos will get 10x the views they are. And this is my big secret that I'm not that shamed about. Maybe I should talk more to my therapist about it. I've been through a few. They cannot figure out what's wrong with me, but it's been working so far. So in a quick nutshell, I've been a commercial director for 15 years. I grew a YouTube channel to 1 million subs with my dad. We worked, made videos with PewDiePie and Ninja. It was super fun. I did my own TV show, Ghosts of Ruin, got to work with Hans Zimmer's team on the music. I had the craziest story for how I snuck into a billionaire's party during all the metaverse hype. I pitched this drunk billionaire on the spot. He was like, that sounds great, it's metaverse. And they gave us $8 million to make the show. That was the insane times of all the crypto stuff. And like I said, now it's AI, so I'm here. No, I'm just kidding. But you've got to ride the waves where the momentum is. And what I've noticed is that truly underdogs can disrupt the space, right? If you have if you're excited to be bold and have courage, where other people are scared, there's a lot of opportunities to hit above your pay grade. You know, like I did with, you know, a lot of my career in kind of YouTube, right time, right place, the TV show. So that's what we're going to talk about today is what is the new paradigm? And let me briefly explain the old paradigm, as you guys are all aware. So like, you know, the big like AI versus not AI debate. Like my friend growing up wanted to work at Pixar his entire life. And then recently I reconnected with him and he's like, hey, I got a job at Pixar. And I was like, what have you been doing there? And he's like, okay, so you know when there's like backlighting on certain shots, well, like, I am the backlighting assistant renderer. It's like, anytime there's like a mustache man, like, I am on that for like months on mustache shots. And I was like, is that what you wanted to do when you were a kid? Like when we were kids? And he's like, well, no, I wanted to write and direct. And now that's the opportunity. You know, the new paradigm is the prompt box. And you guys all know that. I'm preaching to the choir here. I don't need to kind of go into this, but I'm always like amazed when I go into Hollywood and like I hear this like deep resistance to AI. And I'm like, guys, like what are we fighting for? Like nepotism, an industry that, you know, gatekeeps everything but 400 films a year? Like, I don't know if you guys know that. There's like less than 2,000 films and TV shows greenlit per year. And I'm kind of rock and roll by nature, but I don't want to fight for that model. And sure, like I want to fight for artists, but as you guys all know, these are just new tools and we're finding new ways to embrace these tools. So let's go on a brief trip on my first experience with AI. So I'm early, but still a little late. Like there's bigger OGs in the space, but this was the Runway 48-hour film festival. My first, kind of foray into AI films. Like I said, our TV show was costing us $2 million an episode, and I was like, I have to get this down further. I think AI can have us go from $2 million to $200K to $20K an episode. And the 40-hour film festival a year ago was the first, time I was like, okay, let's see what it can do. And so it was fun. Like this was the era where everything was like slow motion, and it was like, essentially just like a Mid-Journey gallery, as everyone's like dramatic voiceovers, post-apocalyptic crap. Like no one was really making good content then, and it was really fun just to make content because nobody knew that you could make kind of these photorealistic films. And then the next project that I did, I was like, okay, how do I take actual IP? I got a taste of like 200,000 views when I was doing the other project, and I had this instinct that might have been influenced by a mushroom trip that I was on. No, just kidding. But I had this instinct that if I took a beloved IP that everybody knew, it might get a lot more attention because obviously everyone knows the Studio Ghibli films, they're huge, but I was like, I actually have an eye on how to do this really cinematically. So let's watch this real quick. This was one of the first major AI videos. Here we go.
My prince, are you prepared to learn what fate the stones have foretold you?
Yes.
There is evil at work in the land to the west, Prince Ashitaka.
My name is Ashitaka. I've traveled far from lands to the east.
Go away.
I don't want to fight you. I'm a friend.
Princess Mononoke?
Princess of the spirits of ghouls, beasts, and ancient gods. The wolf stole her soul, and now she lives to kill me.
You're beautiful.
Why can't the humans in the forest live together? Why can't we stop this fighting now?
I'm going to show you how to kill a god.
You cannot alter your fate, my prince.
Ashitaka, son!
However, you can rise to meet it if you choose.
Okay, that was fun. And then I woke up the next morning, with like no expectations that it would do 22 million views. And I've always been very intentional from the start. Like I said, I have a bit of a YouTube clickbait background, and I knew that if I structured it in the right way, I really think it would strike people the right or the wrong way, And so like I wanted actually a big number for AI because I really did spend like $700 on generations. This stuff was expensive back then a year ago. And then, also really wanted to bait out, like, I'm not trying to gatekeep these tools. Back in, 2024, like nobody really knew how to do photorealism at this level for the most part. And so I talked about how I did it. So I did a big thread. I really thought it would be just like a couple cool AI friends that I had met, a couple weeks ago would see it. And lo and behold, people had a few meltdowns over it. It's like PJ Ace, more like PJ Disgrace. My best one I couldn't find was go generate a bridge and jump off of it. So as you can see, the PJ fan club was starting off real strong. I ended up taking it down. I took like a week off, and I talked with my wife, who's here. Shout out Charlene. She loves me saying this. And she was like, do you want to do this? Like, is this worth it? And honestly, I wasn't 100% sure. And then I get 12 million views, and I was like, let's pull the slot machine again. No. I realized that despite the early pitchforks, I knew that there would be a lot of opportunity in this, because where there's always fear, that's when you kind of got to go in full on. And so I found out, obviously, yes, it was easy back in the early days of, early this year to kind of go viral by taking a big IP and then, doing some sort of familiar twist. Now, you could do this in 2 seconds with a Sora prompt, but this was really cutting edge tech back in the day. And this was fun. And then it led to kind of the most, honestly, one of the most impactful days of my life, sorry, honey, is when VO3 launched. And this was super fun, because I was actually at the FreePick conference on May 21st, and there was the Google conference happening simultaneously, to the joy of everyone at FreePick. And VO3 was announced. And I knew that the first person to really do something photorealistic and striking would get a lot of attention. And I was like, but I've done all these short films and I'm not getting booked. I'm still kind of this month-to-month artist. And I was like, why don't I try an ad? I want to get, brands don't have big imaginations. They want to see what you can do similarly for somebody else before they take the bullet. So this was the first ad I did. I used to shoot 500K pharmaceutical commercials, which I did. I made this for $500 in VO3 credits in less than a day. This later bit us in the butt for sales conversations, that's for sure. So what's the argument against spending $500K now? Steal my prompt below. Very clickbaited, but the video delivered. Check this out. So sorry. There's a slight delay. So sorry. One more time. And go.
I tried everything for my depression. Nothing worked.
Every day felt heavy. I felt trapped.
Then I tried Puppermin.
Our prescription helps your body secrete a special pheromone that attracts puppies.
I took the pill before bed, and when I woke up, there he was, the love of my life.
The pill does not target depression directly, but we've found that it's really difficult to be depressed when cute dogs show up at your doorstep.
I used to feel so empty, but now I feel joy and mild concern how a pee stain got on the ceiling. My puppy listens twice as good as my ex-husband and only climbs into the lap of half as many of my friends.
He chewed up my Bible and pooped in my good chair, but I'm happy. For the first time in years.
Looks like a rat, barks like a demon. But he saved my life.
I named him Earl. He follows me everywhere and farts in his sleep. Just like my first husband.
Pupramine, for when your therapist says, maybe you should get a dog.
That was fun. Thank you, guys. And so thus started the VO3 craze, right? And there were a couple other early, videos that came out around that time. It was very simple back then, the early days of how we prompted a lot of this, because it's all text to video. So, I just wrote down basically the scientist and simple things. And then I had a simple prompt, put that in ChatGPT, and then basically, just said okay, take this prompt, take every shot on my shot list, and create that. And then I strung it together on a timeline. We've got 14 minutes left, so I'm gonna run through some of this pretty quick, because I actually want to give you more modern, actionable insight. This was another one that I did and kind of helped start a trend of Bible influencers. I'll just play this one quick intro clip.
Yo, fam, they don't know that G-O-D is about to BRB. These Philistines thought they could flex on me.
very, very fun and maybe sacrilegious. I'm still checking with my pastor on that. But you know, I in the early days, like truly, like this is why I always say you have to start with a solid hook from the start. And all successive, you know, kind of commercials that I've done, it always has to start with the hook. And that's my biggest, you know, like I'm primarily in my head speaking to creators in the audience, like make it undeniable why they would not scroll away. Like you have to stop the scroll if you want anyone to actually even care about your art these days. Like, am I a bit of a shameless clickbaiter? Sometimes, not as bad as the names you know who. But you know, like this is wild, this changes everything, Hollywood's cooked. Don't worry, I hate it too. But I do think you have to kind of like understand how the algorithm works in order for your stuff to get seen. I will show this one because this one was pretty impactful to kind of the industry. 2 weeks later, they saw the Bible influencers, they saw Proper Men, and this led to my first like major gig, which was for the NBA Finals. And Kalshi, who's a sports betting app, asked me to make this, and lo and behold, insanity ensued.
Indiana gonna win, baby!
We're in Florida asking people what they put their money on! I'm all in on OKC!
Indiana got that dog in them.
Will egg prices go up this month?
I think we'll hit $20. How many hurricanes do you think we'll have this year?
Kalshi lets you legally trade on anything, anywhere in the U.S.
OKC!
Indy! OKC!
I call it cocaine advertising. Thank you. Back to a more civilized era of madmen and terrible decisions in advertising. No, it is wild to show, like, you know, Pepsi these commercials now as like our kind of sales meetings, but they love it. And you know, I think brands, what I always tell them is like, you need to give the users a reason for why you used AI. Like if you're trying to show something that's like mundane or simple that could have actually been shot in real life, your commercial's not gonna do well. But if you go over the top, if you really showcase, like you couldn't have shot this practically for less than a couple million or something insane, this is attention. So, you know, like I grew up in Florida, inspiration playing Grand Theft Auto of my life was really easy for this, you know, kind of Kalshi spot. And so it was really simple. My scripting is always, I write down a bunch of ideas, I write down, add some dialogue to it, you know, and it's very, very simple. And then I just work with ChatGPT to say, okay, take a big prompt like this and follow me, subscribe to my newsletter, I have the prompt. I think actually prompts are overrated. You just need to convey the information that you want, and the models now kind of rewrite them enough. So I don't think prompts are some big sacred thing. You don't have to do JSON prompting. It's just like, honestly, it's storytelling. Like that's truly as these models go. You don't need as much technical skills as you did. Aha, here it is. I'm familiar. You know, VO3 is really simple. And like I said, now, we are much more, I'm not gonna play this one. This one's even more insane, probably get me canceled.
I got paid $900 for uploading my camera roll.
Okay, we won't watch that one. I really do show these videos to like Popeyes and Kalshi and Nike and like, somehow they still keep booking us. So out of the success of that, you know, Genre.AI, my agency's born, co-founder, we now have like 15 to 20 people given the week. Our structure is really simple. We think that the smartest thing you can be doing with AI right now is advertising. Like, yes, there's other people who are trying to do Hollywood films, but the models change so fast. I think it's a fool's errand on the basis that, like, you got to reshoot your film every 4 weeks, you know, because it moves so fast. So we said, okay, we're gonna let Hollywood, you know, I don't know, do its own thing. It's gonna take a lot more, but we know that there's a lot of opportunities for attention now, and then we can always build a Hollywood agency downstream of this kind of weekly cadence of releasing new ads each week. And we did an agency because, you know, I believe in the power of playing the orchestra rather than playing an instrument. And so as I shared earlier, we won't go through this one, but this was another fun, crazy ad that
If history has taught us anything, it's not to root against the underdog. Right, Peter?
No spoilers.
It pays to know what's coming.
Check the group chat!
To chart your own course.
I'm sure that's nothing.
Because the 1 in a million long shot.
Okay, I like this ad. We're gonna play it.
When the whole world picks Goliath, you know it's going to be David. Every great leap began with a bold first step, and there's no shortage of second chances. Against impossible odds, You don't stand down. You swing first.
Bible and sports betting, hey! Okay, I really want to show you guys how I'm doing a lot of these. So let me explain kind of the process. Like that was very early, and it was literally just me in my underwear with the grannies, for the early projects. But eventually, it's got to get expanded to the team, and we had an HR department, and it's hopefully a lot chiller now. We've got writers, we've got a director, we've got what we call our AI cinematographer. Sometimes we have a creative director, and then we have this sort of AI generalist role. That kind of animates the content, and then the editor, and then sound design. So really, it's 5 core roles that are working on any project with us, and I'm going to kind of show you guys what each step looks like. So we mirror now with our productions the traditional production process. We go through heavy concepting where we talk through like here's the different shots, here's how we could do it for this large campaign for Kalshi or Popeyes or something like that. And then they narrow it down, they say, we like this one. So then we say, okay, let's fully script it out. So then in the script, we'll accompany it with like big images. And then from there, we move on into the treatment phase, which is what you're seeing kind of on the right. So in traditional agency world, you do these 90-page insane treatments and you hope to win the bid. Fortunately for us, a lot of brands come to work with us, so we're doing this treatment for the creative team and the client to show, here's the visuals, do you like the style, do you like our references here, and then we're gonna go execute. So what you see in this top right-hand corner is our big Figma board. Really excited for free pick spaces, by the way, because I feel like it's kind of similar, but basically on the far left of the screen up there, you're gonna see the shot list, you're gonna see the voiceover line, and then you're gonna see reference images for that scene. And then our right side is where our AI artists come in and they plop down images that correlate to the visual style on your left. So this really is like why now it takes about 8 weeks for most of our projects, because to get this level of, what you see in the middle is like photo fidelity with Arina Sabalenka. She's, one of the top. Actually, she's the #1 tennis player in the world. And so, we need to kind of have checks at each step of the process. So this is why an image to video workflow, as you guys see in the top right, is so much more effective when doing all these checks. Because if we had to do text to video, like you have 100,000 revisions and you're not really able to execute at these high levels with like product swaps and placement and stuff like that. So once we have all the shots in the kind of shot board, we get client approval, we'll do multiple calls. In Figma, it makes it easy because new comments. I still kind of hate Figma. Sorry if there's anyone in the room. It's just at the moment the best thing, but I do think that with free pick spaces and whatnot, we're going to see a lot more of these Crea, Morphic, Weavies, applications where you need collaboration. Because as I've said before, like, figure out your genius zone. Figure out what's you're best at. Like, sure, I'm kind of good as a director, but I realize that could be great as a creative director of an agency that kind of apes and mimics a lot of the success of what's really working right now in the AI space. So let's go to, an actual real project. So this is probably final example, one of our best ones we've ever done. This is the one that got 230 million views. So early scripting, what are you willing to do to be the best? What if it came down to a simple choice? Red versus green. So I'm sure you guys are familiar with Athletic Greens, #1 green supplement in the world. This is their competitor, David Beckham's company, IM8. Feel energized, perform at your best. And so, we worked with our writers to kind of work with them on this matrix-like choice. That's what the client said, and he was like, I like this idea of like, you've got one or the other. We need to visualize what does it look like to have both. So that's in the next step of the process where we're able to go to the next slide. Yeah. Expelio. Okay, so we'll have, once the client approves the general concept, we move into kind of more of like a simple scripting phase here, where we have some reference images here, and then we move on, once that's approved, into like the more, treatment phase. Now, for those of you who are like solo artists, you guys don't have to do this level, but again, like bigger brands are more comfortable with this. This is what I talked about before, amplified. Like I said, this workflow will change a lot, but I do think that AI automation is really gonna be how, it's like you're gonna be able to upload a script and it's gonna generate, 6 months from now, kind of like what Sora's already trying to do, is it's gonna say, okay, for scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, we've shown you images and you're able to like mix and match, do iterations. Like this takes us a while now. That's why these take 8 weeks. But I do think that within like 6 months to a year, this is mostly going to be automated at some level. Like I don't think ads will be purely automated for a bit, but they will need to be halfway automated to where it makes it quick for you to customize it afterwards. Okay, let's watch the ad.
What are you willing to do to be the best? What if it all came down to a simple choice? Red or green? Red. You can feel it. Feel energized. Perform at your best. Developed by world-leading scientists, including NASA, to help you live with more vitality, energy, and longevity. Sure, you could choose green, but just because it's green doesn't mean it's good for you. This is your chance for peak performance, whatever the task.
The best choose the best.
All right. So fun. Yep. And so, as you can see, kind of got rewarded by the market. Now they've got a huge influencer program, so I can't say that, all of our ads or anything like that, but I definitely think that we've seen some big outcomes for the people we've worked with, and we've seen others that, get a couple 100,000 views or something like that. I always tell clients that it is not, their goal shouldn't be virality always. Their goal should be creating a great ad. And we cannot guarantee virality as an agency, but we can guarantee it's going to be great. It's going to look near photorealistic. And as time goes on, it's going to look 100% photorealistic. And this is going to, I don't see a world in which like a year from now, $1 million shoots exist. I don't think they're going to have to cost $100K. I don't think everyone has to work, at our level. I think it's going to get more automated. I do think the prices are going to compress, but I think in the end, brands are going to win, creators are going to win, because you're always going to need a human orchestrator as a part of this process. Though that's going to change, and I don't have, exact. What's the most defensible part of the skill stack? Is it the cinematography? Maybe not. Maybe you're just going to be able to provide a few reference photos, and then the images are incredibly cinematic. I will say, the top of the funnel, writing and directing will always be relevant, even if part of the process is automated, but we don't know. And so, we're still so early. Even though it seems like this presentation, you guys have seen an insane amount of progress over the year in your personal lives and as I've kind of shared on stage. But I think the most important quality that I could ever impart to you guys is two things. It's one, be bold with your style, even if you're a little weird, as I'm finding out through my films. I really need to do more therapy. But I think that you can truly express yourself in a unique way that the market says, okay. And if you don't have a huge commercial background like I do or something like that, and you're like, how do I still make ads on that level? Collaborate with others. This is really where the opportunity is. What brands are you interested in? Or even short films and whatnot. What space would you just want to hang out in and create content in that you could live and it doesn't feel like work? Find those niches. The riches truly are in the niches. Find the spots in which you kind of want to hang out in, whether it's sports car promos, whether it's fashion, whether it's perfume. There is some industry niche. And as always, I'm biased towards advertising because I think this is where the budgets are. If you make great spec commercials, you will get seen by brands. If you make funny spec commercials, you will get hired by brands. The IM8 one shows you don't have to be funny, but I think by starting funny with the Sora, all the Sora videos, we want to elevate AI slop. But I do think at some level, if you're a brand that has talking dogs and they're doing a podcast and you are, promoting that, brands will hire you to do that. There's so many, I cannot tell you guys how many brands we even turn down just because we can't handle all the demand. So connect with me. I do have, at the end of this, I can't scroll through 100 slides real quick. If you guys want to connect with me, write down PJ Ace. I'm on X. I have a newsletter, PJ Ace Beehive. I'd love to connect with you guys. I'm pj@pjace.com if you all want to email me. I've got a great newsletter. I love to teach. I love that rising tide floats all boats. So if there's any way I can help you guys, please reach out. Thank you so much for, entertaining me and letting me entertain you this morning. Have a great time in Malaga. I'll see you all around.